So welcome to the session, everyone. As I said, my name is Janet Acorn. I'm your host. I'm an ITSM Outbound Product Manager, and I have Paul Van Nistelrooy adding with me also to assist. And we're going to start talking about piloting ServiceNow Virtual Agent. So just some housekeeping up front. We're going to keep you on mute, and there is going to be Q&A after the presentation and demo. Please go ahead as we're going through. If you have any questions at all, add them into the Q&A feature in Zoom to ask your questions, and we'll keep an eye on those as we go through. Also, feel free to introduce yourself. Let us know who you are so that we can reach out afterwards if need be, and there will be some resources made available to you at the end of the session. This session will be recorded and shared on the ServiceNow community so that you can go back and reference it, or if any of your colleagues were unable to join, they can listen in as well. And last but not least, there will be a short survey that you'll be invited to fill out right after the session ends. We truly appreciate your feedback. After this session, in approximately 2 weeks' time, we're going to have a follow-up session, which is about your learnings from today, your questions, anything that you've come up against in your pilot and so on, to do a deep dive on jumpstarting Virtual Agent and understanding how to move forward from a pilot and so on. It's a really good opportunity to learn from ServiceNow experts, to talk to people who have the technical knowledge and the experience, and really also to engage with your peers. So we hope to see you there. We hope you'll join us back on April 26th for the Americas. That will be at 10 a.m. Pacific time or 1 p.m. Eastern. And for EMEA, it'll be 3 p.m. GMT. There is a link in the chat, which you can use to register for that follow-up session. So thank you again for joining us today. My name is Janet Acorn. I am a Senior Principal Outbound Product Manager for IT Service Management with ServiceNow. And I have about 25 years experience directly in IT in all different industries doing service management consulting, both for other companies as well as to having joined ServiceNow about 5 years ago. And Paul, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you, Janet. Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Van Nistelrooy. I'm a Senior Principal Product Manager as well for our ITSM business unit. Been with ServiceNow coming up 9 years, so a bit of experience here within this company, and I'll be doing today's demo. Back to you, Janet.
Thank you. All right, so for the agenda for today, we're going to talk about, what is Virtual Agent? What types of conversations do you have with it? And really, what are the foundations that you need to put in place to have a successful pilot for Virtual Agent? How do you scale that afterwards and grow your conversations? We're also going to give you what resources are available to you to help you, what your next steps would be. And then, as Paul indicated, he's going to walk you through a demo of a number of things, including, where natural language understanding is turned on and how that's utilized, selecting pilot conversations, understanding what good topics are, how to identify those, and also piloting Virtual Agent with collaboration tools such as Microsoft Teams, so that you're really working that Virtual Agent with people in the collaboration tools that they're used to using every day. Okay. And we also want to show you how to create a great first impression with being able to customize greetings and conversations so that they're in a format that your users truly understand and are comfortable with. So let's start with some basic definitions. Virtual Agent is really, it's an in-platform conversational interface. It uses automation to provide users with personalized and contextual interaction. So today's Virtual Agent with natural language understanding interprets beyond keyword constructs to understand, process, and respond in a language that your users truly understand. It means that you're able to utilize business language, common terminology. You no longer are left with only specific terms that are keywords and that are left behind from our traditional way of work. You can now ask how to open an incident in about 50 different ways, if I recall the number of times. And it makes it very, very user-friendly that way, so that if somebody asks the question and types it in wrong, forgets a word or something, it still recognizes and moves forward. So it's very user-friendly. Virtual agent conversations support a lot of business goals. It's all about scaling business efficiency, reducing costs, reducing the agent workload, letting them focus on the things that actually take time and effort to understand and fix, and allowing virtual agent to provide the information for very repetitive tasks and common issues. It's going to improve service by providing users instant answers 24/7. So you don't have to wait for your service desk to open up to get your password reset and things like that. It provides a lot faster resolution time by giving self-service capabilities. For piloting, we really want to make sure that you identify your desired outcomes and that you ensure you introduce the big wins. So one of the big things with supporting your business goals is identifying what is your top goal. Is it just increasing self-service, or is it really driving that down that mean time to resolve? In which case, what you choose as a pilot topic is going to change. Is it a complex item, or is it a whole lot of little simple items? Virtual agents support a number of different conversations. There's requests for information, things that focus on the process themselves, such as what do I need to do? How do I add an emergency contact? How do I change my last name, right? Or requests for knowledge that focus on the knowledge that you already have at hand in your existing knowledge management systems and so on, such as what is the status of my cell phone request? Where do I find information on new devices available? Things like that. It also works for requests for action. I need Adobe installed on my laptop. I need a new cell phone. I dropped one. Things like that will be able to be responded to and start the request process, prompting you with information as you go on. So let's get on and start with how do you get there? How do you start to get virtual agent working? So there's three approaches generally. One is starting with the natural language understanding and the out-of-the-box conversations that are already pre-built. At current time, there's customizable templates for many conversations, both for IT, for HR, and for customer service scenarios. For IT itself, there's approximately 65 out-of-the-box conversations available to select from. And that is what we will recommend for anyone starting a pilot, that you start with approach one and use the out-of-the-box conversations. From there, you go on to approach two, which is really about creating and modifying those conversations with Virtual Agent Designer. So you have the opportunity to go ahead and copy one of the topics and then go in and adjust it to your own language, your own number of tasks, whatever it is. If there's additional information that you need in order to move from step one to step two, you get to go in and add that step in and work through. And then the third approach is to create very custom conversations with natural language understanding models. And the models really are just the list of phrases, the utterances that you use and that your team uses, and that are very custom to your organization. So utterances can include some of the things like your internal application names and your project names and things like that that are very specific to your organization. And that's where you kind of work to and you mature yourself to go from your pilot stage, slowly start making modifications to work with your processes and any changes. And then the third one is really moving on and going ahead and getting into the details of everything that your organization needs, from soup to nuts. Anything that is repeatable and has a common process can be added into Virtual Agent. But it's really important to understand your user experience as you're creating Virtual Agent conversations. So you want to keep it simple. You want to have it fewer steps wherever possible. And the NLU model, or the natural language, is really just to make it comfortable and easy to understand and ask. So when you're considering the conversations for your pilot, there's a number of things to ask yourself. One, what is your user's journey to really find answers? Where do they go to look for things? You want to make sure that you have your virtual agent icon in a place that they sit in. So whether it's on your service portal, whether it's on your employee page, that's where you want to make sure that your actual virtual agent connection is shown. You want to be where the users are to get things started. The second thing is, are your users going to need live transfer? Are there cases in which a user wants to start a conversation, and if they can't find something, be able to jump out to an agent and just continue with opening a ticket and having the agent assist them further? If so, you're going to need to make sure you've got chat included or have agent workspace already running in your organization and aligned to which queue it will transfer. Third, think about your knowledge base. Is your knowledge base going to support your needs? For self-service, do you have the content that's required? Is that content accessible to all users or only some users? You want to start any pilot with Virtual Agent using knowledge that is publicly available, that you've made available to all of your users, because those are usually the things that are most common. What feedback and metrics do you need to measure success? So this is where you're going to say, what is the outcome I'm trying to achieve? And what do I need to receive to know that I've achieved it? So if you're looking for self-service, how many more interactions are closed? That's the record from Virtual Agent, as opposed to new incidents opened. So you should see incidents drop, interactions increase, right? What else do you need to evaluate? Also, is organizational change management available to support your pilot? Do you have champions in the field who are going to help people adapt to doing self-service and to asking VA questions? And just having good marketing around it, because that is half of the challenge. Once people find Virtual Agent, if you are using the topics that are relevant, it will become very popular and will take a significant load off of your help desks. Next, selecting your conversations. As we said, select some potential candidates. Look at the things that are always high quantity in your organization. It's usually either changing passwords, changing email addresses, adapting distribution lists, things like that. Select some of those as your early on quick wins, right? Conduct the analysis of those other things that are in your system and decide which are the most important to make available through Virtual Agent, where you've got the knowledge to support it, and take that load off of your resolver groups. And then you select your conversations. When Paul does the demo in a bit, he'll give you some hints on how you can identify these things and get the right information to start for a pilot. Keep adoption at the forefront of your planning. Make sure you provide accurate results to keep users coming back. You don't want to have someone ask Virtual Agent how to change their Active Directory login and have them taken to something that asks or gives them information on new monitors. You want to make sure that your language goes to the right things. And all that means is testing. So during your pilot, do the conversation, run it through, get a small user group who you can, bounce ideas off on how it would be asked and use that. Offer an intuitive interface. Get a group of users, right? Testing to make sure it makes sense. And then embed it where your users work. So if your organization is using Microsoft Teams, absolutely 100% get that Teams integration in there early and make Virtual Agent available to them where they're working every day to begin with. They ask Virtual Agent a question, it can send a task out to another group in Teams to do the work. Or it can respond to you right in Teams. It's right there where you're used to working. And deliver a personalized experience. Again, Paul's going to show you a few things on how to change greetings and things like that that will show your users you know what time zone they're in, you know what language they speak, things like that, that just make it more comfortable for them. And prepare to scale. This is the big thing. Make sure that your virtual agent pilot is in alignment with your organizational goals so that you've got the backing behind you to move forward and grow. Make sure you've got your success measures in place, that you can identify how many active users, how many virtual agent sessions, has mean time to resolve been increased. And build teams. As you evolve to more complex topics, start to work with more people to find out what should be in virtual agent. What are the steps to be taken? Verify those things that are catalog items that can very easily be run by the virtual agent, right? And create governance for your journey. Make sure you know what the technical standards are for building those conversations and how demands for new conversations are managed and agreed upon. So that said, just as an example, before we go to the demo with Paul, Virtual Agent for ITSM is really about improving your time to value, right? That's one of the goals and objectives. So there's a number of different things in the new version, in the San Diego version in particular, of Virtual Agent. The conversation interfaces console, which is shown here in the diagram, helps you understand the outcome-based tasks that are going to help you update your virtual agent configurations and change things. It's so easy to navigate and update greetings, change your fallback topics, things like that. It's much, much faster to manage and administer now. You can improve incident and request deflection by including the chat utterances as new data sources. So what are the terms that users put in to VA in order to get to the right topic and the right process to resolve their item? When you have utterances that are not working, you can turn them off and add new ones in, right? You're going to continuously improve those chat interfaces and be able to identify gaps with your self-service. You have an analytics dashboard, which is going to give you click metrics and know how many people went to VA, what did they go to VA for, what were the areas. And one of the newest things that's really great for teams who have multiple ServiceNow instances is that Teams integration is now enabled for multi-instance to go to a single Microsoft Teams. So if you have ServiceNow for HR on one instance and ServiceNow ITSM on another, both of those can use Virtual Agent and interface with Microsoft Teams in your single Teams instance. So it'll really help you work with users where they're used to functioning in their Microsoft Teams collaboration tool. So with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Paul now to go ahead and give you a demo and walk you through some setup.
Thank you,
Paul?
Janet. Yep, thanks. Happily to take over. I think before we do so, we would like to run a short poll with the audience to see where the people in the call are in their journey. Partly out of curiosity, and also I'll try and take the outcomes into account in my short demo that I'll be doing. So if you could please fill out that poll, and we see the results coming in. Thanks for those who've already responded. Almost there, just a few more. I'm not sure if everybody is willing to respond, but yeah, I think we're good. I think we can share the results. So here we go. 60%, a little over 60% currently exploring options, and 40% in the process of implementing Virtual Agent. None of you have Virtual Agent live. Got it. So that's really good to know. And what I'll do is I'll try and keep that in the back of my mind when I go through my demo here. All right, so as Janet already mentioned, this is the Conversational Interfaces homepage. This is a new homepage shipped with our San Diego release. I appreciate not all of you may be on our San Diego release. The majority of the functionality exists in Rome as well, albeit that it has to be accessed through a menu. This is a way easier and condensed way of accessing a lot of that information. So what I'll do is I'll run through some of the features in this on this page, and while doing so, I'll bear in mind that some of you are in the process of implementing, and some of you are still exploring options. In my demo instance, top right hand side, I can see I have 30 active topics. So I'm well on my way of implementing in this scenario. 30 active topics is quite a lot, actually, especially for a first go. I always recommend to start small and grow bigger. But that's where we are in my little demo instance here. So I can see my bot in action in a portal. So if I have multiple portals, maybe I have a knowledge portal and an employee center portal, I can open up that portal, and it will show my portal. Let's get rid of that poll. And here I can see my virtual agent is already popping up. So that's where that shows in my ESC portal, right? So if it hasn't been set up there yet, I can view the settings, and I can add virtual agent to any of those portals. I can try my bot from this page as well, right? Rather than having to go into the designer and go to test, I can just hit try your bot, and I can see. You may have seen this this window before. It tells me now, hi, I'm your virtual agent. Let me know how I can help you today. That's not very personal, is it? It's not saying me, hi, Paul, good evening, and here's some of the information that I have for you. It's just very generic. Let's get back to that later. So I can either show everything. These are the topics that I have access to. Or I can type in, I am currently facing what I think is a phishing attempt, and I would like your assistance with that. So phishing attempt did not match any of the intents. So what it means, it didn't find anything, any topic to match this to. That's fair. I mean, some of the topics we have some of the intents we have topics live for, some others not. But it's not really giving me anything here. So all in all, not too good of an experience. But let's get back to that. Well, you know what? Let's dive right into that. So if I go to chat settings and I go to virtual agent, right, here's a lot of general settings that I can set, but we're focusing on virtual agent tonight. I'm going to skip a lot of these, going to come back to that later, but here's my custom greetings and setup. Right? So that greeting was not very personal, and I didn't like that fallback topic either. So if I open up my custom greetings and setup, I can choose which experience I would like to use. So you may be aware we're capable of setting up multiple experiences for different target groups or for maybe a different portal. And this is my default chat experience. I only have one, so that's easy choosing for me. And here I can set up my setup topics. And again, you may have seen this or a similar screen. This is not new functionality, but it's very easily accessible through this homepage. And here I can see for my greeting, I currently have a greetings topic. Now, setup topic are topics that are reused in a lot of other conversations. So that greeting topic now appears whenever a user opens up the dialog. I want to change that to what I have set up as a dynamic greeting topic. So I can choose from a list, right? Or I can start search here. Up there it is, dynamic greeting topic. I'm going to select that. So this is a out-of-the-box dynamic greeting topic that makes my greeting a bit more personal. You know what? I'm going to test that right away. So hit save, and let's find out if we can test that quickly. So if I open up a test again, there's my pop-up window again, and it now tells me, what does it tell me? Hello system. Well, system is not a very personal name, but it happens to be that I'm the admin in this setup. So we'll show you another example later on where it's actually using the first name, but this happens to be my first name. Also 2,500 open issues is not very good news, but again, let's call that a demo setup, right? So now it's personally giving me information that's relevant to me. Additionally, I could say, instead of hello, I can say good evening, because where I'm based out of the Netherlands, it's evening at this time, or good morning if I'm based out of the United States, right? So I can make that experience more personal, or I can, for example, say, I know you're based out of the Netherlands, and by the way, we currently have an outage on Outlook. So if the reason you opened up Virtual Agent was to identify some issues with Outlook, you don't even have to type that in. So that's really preventing or preempting better the end user to have to type anything in, and very personalized to the end user. So better experience. The other experience that I didn't like very much was that fallback topic, and a fallback topic is the topic that Virtual Agent resides to when it can't find anything. I didn't find anything. I couldn't match any intent to any topic, etc. Currently, it's my fallback topic. I could also set that to a search fallback topic. Again, a search fallback topic is a reusable topic that is coming out of the box. So nothing I have to do for that. But I'm just going to change my default fallback to search fallback. Hit save, and you know what I'm going to do? The same test again. See if it brings up any other result. Then I'm sorry, I cannot help you. If all's well, it's at least going to try to find something in the knowledge base. So let's see what it comes up with. First of all, there's my hello system, and you have a ton of issues. And then I can type in phishing attempt, exact same way I did before. And what it will show me is one result of one. So it couldn't find a corresponding topic, but it did find that knowledge base article. See, so that's a better experience already. And what I'm just using is out-of-the-box building blocks to enhance my experience, to improve my experience as an end user. All right, we're going to come back to this conversational interface homepage later on, but for now I just want to take you through what an experience for an end user could look like, and what I'll do for that is I'll change my user to able tutor. So I'm going to change users. I'm going to pretend I'm able, and able in our setup is one of our employees. I'm going to go to my employee service center. I could have gone to my portal as well. Really the same thing here. So what I'll do here, I'm going to type in that I need software because I want to have Zoom installed on my laptop, and I know I need a request for that, but I'm not sure where to find it. So maybe Virtual Agent can help me with that. So what I'll do is I'll type in software, because I think that's the best way of entering that. And then it tells me, okay, so I found something software related, request going to this topic flow. First question is, do you want to install, update, or remove software? In this case, I would like to install software. Then what it brings up is a list of potential applications that I could install. Now, rather than this being hard-coded or just a list that I typed in anywhere, this is referring to the table with list of active applications, right? So this is dynamically built up. If we decide at some point we're no longer supporting Zoom, then I don't have to change my flow, or I don't have to go into topic designer to change that. It will automatically be picking that up because it's no longer an actively supported application, right? This time I'm going to select Zoom. So now, by answering a few simple questions, it then tells me, okay, I will proceed to install software for Zoom. Would you like me to proceed with this? No, because you know what? I'm going to try this a different way. Anything else? Yes, I would like to just type in, I want to install Zoom on my laptop. Right? So instead of just typing in software, I think this virtual agent is a little bit more intelligent, and maybe it understands sentences like this one. Now, if you notice, it's skipping the question, do you like to install, update, or remove software? It also skips the sentence, would you like to select any of the following applications? It automatically selected Zoom. This is what natural language understanding is capable of doing. First of all, finding that right topic, so it knows that this is software related. Secondly, having those entities like install, update, or delete derive from that utterance and making that choice inside that conversation. So we don't have to ask the question anymore of things that the user already provided. So I'm going to skip the question, install, update, or delete. And also, since it says Zoom, I'm going to assume that's the software that this person wants. Yep. Should I proceed with that? Now, in this case, nope, no attachment needed. In this case, what it will do is it will submit a request. So rather than me having to find the right catalog item and submitting a request for that catalog item through this dialog, I'm now going to ask a virtual agent, could you please enter that request on my behalf? And you can see it did that. And I can either use this link to open up the request in a new tab, but for now, this is good. I'm happy with that. And I can say nothing needed anymore. Now what I would like to do is I would like to switch gears a little and go to Microsoft Teams. So here's a Microsoft Teams web application. What I can do, as it says here, the previous conversation has ended. If you need help again, type hi. So I'm typing hi to my virtual agent. Right? So the Now Virtual Agent is either an app, but once I've had my first conversation, it shows in my chat list. This is just a demo instance, which is why I don't have any other chats than just with Virtual Agent. But I can wake my virtual agent up by typing in hi, and I can see what it brings. So first of all, what it does, it says I have 3 open issues. I have 1 requested item and 2 incidents. Those were previously created. This is probably the one that I just opened up. So again, I can use that link to exit out of Microsoft Teams and to go into ServiceNow. But if I would, for example, do not escalate IT ticket. I'm sorry. Let's ignore that. I'm done. So wrong entry there for me. Not sure if it will let me. Maybe I should escalate this one. Let's go with it. Right. So it escalated that, but that's not really what I wanted to do. Would you like to add a comment to it? No, I'm fine. Slightly off track here. Anything else? Yes, I would like to get an update of my check IT status. See what else is there for me. So 2 open incidents and 1 requested item. Which status would you like to check? Maybe that of the requested item. Okay, I can either go to the requested item or I could add a comment here. Again, I want to use in Microsoft Teams. This is where I'm using. This is where I'm working all day long. So if I want to add some comment, it would be nice if I didn't have to leave Microsoft Teams. So if I would say yes, leave some comment, I can enter the comment. Any idea on when this is available? That's a comment that I added through Virtual Agent and added that to the requested item. Anything else? Yes, you know what? I would like to speak to a live agent. So I can either type in live agent or I can select from this list live agent support. Oops. Click that properly, hit submit. Your response was set. Please stand by while I connect you to a live agent. Currently the waiting time is approximately 29 seconds. Again, I will have to shift gears, opening up yet another browser. In this browser I'm logged in as somebody called Beth. Beth has set herself to being available for receiving incoming chats, and this chat she still has 32 seconds to accept. So as soon as Beth accepts the chat, that conversation through the virtual agent has now been redirected from VA to Beth. And as you can see, I can see the previous conversation, so I don't have to start asking questions that the user already typed in their conversation with virtual agent. And I can start replying now. Right, so if I go back to how can I help? Oops. Or maybe because I know this is Zoom related, I can already find the request that was created and look into that request and maybe see if there's anything wrong with it, or maybe I have an estimated time to when this will be responded to. So if I say how can I help, that's what shows up in my Microsoft Teams. Right. So this is seamlessly transferring a conversation that started with the virtual agent to now a conversation with the live agent. Right, so no, really, I'm done. This is good, so no need to follow this conversation through. What I'll do here is I'll kill this conversation for now. This will end the chat. Yep, that's fine, because there's one more thing I would like to show you guys, and that is the use of hang on, my mobile app. Right, if I see this is my mobile app, the one that I'm holding in my hand here. If I go to my work at the top, I can access Virtual Agent, and I can see the exact same thing here. Right, so this is the latest conversation that I've just had. I can see there's 3 open issues, so the same information is showing here. Show me everything. I can check ID status. All of the topics are available. It's just another way of entering the same information, right? And if I click any of those links, I will get information. I can add comments, and all of the other topics that I have set as being active in my environment. All right, so let's go back to the conversational interfaces homepage. Before I do so, let me just quickly, end impersonation. So whenever I need to go back into my ServiceNow, that it won't be restricted to Abel's authorizations. Right, let's go back to my homepage. So hang on, in chat settings, I think I was in the right section here. Some of the things that that I've skipped for now, I just went into custom greetings and setup. The first bit here is topic recommendations. You heard Janet say that we have ways of distilling what would be the best set of topics for you as a customer to get started with. And one way of doing that is by applying machine learning, more specifically clustering framework, to your data. And by doing so, we can look at, for example, the last 3 months worth of your incidents, and then let's see if we can cluster those incidents into groups that belong together. And when I say group that belongs together, what we do is we look at the short description, we derive some keywords, some terms there based on a taxonomy that we provide, and then we'll say if we can make some sense out of that. And then based on those groups, we can then say these are the biggest chunks, and let's see if we have an out-of-the-box topic that would match that type of incidents. Now, what that would look like is under the name of topic recommendations, something that looks like this. So again, it's using machine learning technology to group incidents that I want to use. Now, there's a lot of information on this page, so let me take you through this. The total number of incidents that I've run this clustering exercise for is 72,500. This can be the last 3 months or a month of incidents. We need more than 10,000. We recommend more than 30,000 incidents. Obviously, this is more data gives a better view. Out of the 72,000, going to my row here, 8.5% or 6.2 thousand are related to something that we think have to do with email issues, right? Probably people saying I can't access my email, or I can't access Outlook. I have a problem with Outlook, or I don't know how to send an email. All of those sentences that we think have to do with those keywords, they will be grouped into email issues. Right? I get a bit more information if I click that I, and I can see there's a mix in how people contacted us, right? 25% on self-service, 20% over the phone. 95% of these tickets were handled by the assignment group software, and all of them were in English, right? So there's a bit of information here. Now, what do I do with this? There happens to be a out-of-the-box topic that covers email issues. So very likely, this is a good starter to look into how to handle those incidents. Same with the troubleshoot slow computer or VPN connectivity, right? So there's 26 topics, if you open all of them, 26 topics that match somehow those incidents that we've analyzed in that discovery exercise. Now, if you look at the first 5 over here, so that's 8.5%, that's 14, that's 25. The 30% of the incidents could be covered with out-of-the-box topics. So that's 30% of the 72,000. And this is not obviously it's demo data, but it's not an unrealistic scenario, right? We can see that there's always a couple of large clusters that can be handled. And if we happen to have out-of-the-box topics for that, that's a really quick start, right? So in order to get the answer to the question, where should I start? Topic recommendation is really giving you a good idea of, based on your data, where you will probably find the biggest value in bringing topics live. Right? And again, 5 topics, 30%, that's a pretty good coverage, right? If you would extend that to 10, you would probably add another, I don't know, 5 or 6%, so maybe up to 40% of the incidents that could potentially be covered with out-of-the-box topics. That's a really good starting point. Right, so that's topic recommendations. Another part that that Janet mentioned is the natural language understanding bit, and I showed a bit of that in my exercise where I typed in, I want to install Zoom on my laptop. I think I wrote something like that, and it did not only recognize the intent, what it is I want to do, well, something with software, but also recognized installed, and it recognized Zoom as an application. So this is through using natural language understanding. If I go to natural language understanding or NLU Workbench, it will give me a bit of understanding of how to build an NLU model. Right, and this doesn't have to be huge. I mean, you need to have an understanding of how natural language understanding works, but once you have that understanding, it's not a huge effort. So in this model, I only have 4 intents. Right? I think I had, like, in my selection of lists, there was like 10 topics. So maybe I need to add a few intents here to have a better coverage. Let's look at what intents I have in my model. My model, I have one for request software. That's the name of my intent, which is mapped to my topic software related request. So there's a topic that I've built with VA Designer that's called software related request. The intent request software in my NLU model tries to discover when to call this topic, right? So when to direct the users to that topic. And it does that by recognizing the language that the end user enters. And by recognizing that, it matches that to, as we call that, utterances. Now, this intent only has 12 utterances, which is a bit low. Therefore, it says needs utterances. So I could probably fine-tune my model by adding a few more utterances. But let's have a look what those utterances are. So here we can see my 12 utterances. Request software application installation. Request installation of software application. I want software application installed. Now, what do these green phrases mean? All these green blocks here, those are references to entities. And that software application, if you remember, that's referring to that vocabulary source that looks up into that application table. Do we still support Zoom? Or in other words, which applications do we support? Right? So that's a reference to that entity. Installation is a reference to install, update, or delete. So whenever there's a word installation or install or installed, all of those words, that's when the topic knows to not ask the question, would you like to install, update, or delete, but direct this request to the install portion of the flow. Right? So those are my utterances. Here I see my entities, software request, software application. That's my vocabulary source. And there's a simple one with software. So this is very high level what an NLU model can look like. The purpose is clear. It allows for more natural and human-like conversation and avoiding having to ask things that the user already mentioned. Right? If I say I want to install Zoom, I wouldn't be happy if the question was, would you like to install, update, or delete, or ask for what application? And by applying NLU to my VA, I can avoid those questions and make the conversation smoother. What else is there here on this page? One of the things is issue order resolution. And with issue order resolution, we can deflect incidents even after they have been created. Now that sounds a bit weird, but what it means is if I am an end user and I forgot my password and I'm not aware of Virtual Agent, or I don't think VA can help me, just creating an incident saying I forgot my password can be picked up by issue order resolution as something that we can help the user with through the use of Virtual Agent. So what it does is picks up that incident shortly after it's created, sends out a notification to that end user saying, I noticed you created an incident to reset your password. If you want, I can help you with doing that. Let me know if you want my support. Right? And then if the end user says, no, I don't want your support, then you can still stick with that incident, or we can direct him to a live agent at that point in time. But if he does, then that's an incident deflected even after it was created. So very powerful, and it adds to the overall objective of serving the end user quicker, as well as deflecting incidents. Then there's AI search. AI search is a capability that we've introduced, I think 1 or 2 releases ago. So it's a machine learning based search, which is a feature within the ServiceNow platform, and it can be applied to a virtual agent as well. Remember where I was changing that fallback topic to a search fallback topic? We can also apply that to an AI search fallback topic, or we can apply AI in other areas. So AI search can be integrated with, or can be used within Virtual Agent as well. Right, so those are some of the other aspects that once you get going with a ServiceNow Virtual Agent, you can start to explore and pilot those functionalities as well. Lastly, let's go back to my homepage. I'd like to just point out the new and improved branding capability. So you may be aware that in previous versions we had the capability of changing the branding of the Virtual Agent pop-up or the console by using hexadecimal codes. We can still do that, but now we can instantly see what the result is. So if I want to change that to bright red, you can see, or maybe blue, you can see that that's the impact. And this goes for all of the elements of that chat window. Now let me go back to the original color, setting that back to what it was. One last thing that I would like to very briefly mention to you before I hand it back over to Janet is the analytics bit. So analyze your bot's performance through Virtual Agent Analytics. I don't have a lot of data in my instance here, so I would like for you to please understand that the numbers will probably be higher in an operational instance, but just to give you some idea of the number and the types of metrics that we ship out of the box with this Virtual Agent Analytics dashboard. Deflection count, so how many incidents were deflected, what was the deflection pattern, was it through query response, through a knowledge base resolve, etc. How much Virtual Agent activity is there, number of VA users, number of conversations, VA success rate. Hopefully that would be higher in a real life environment. Percentage of topic flows completed, 88%. There's a couple of side notes on some of these metrics. First of all, if I see the number of incidents deflected, I would also like to be able to compare that to an actually declining a backlog of my incidents of those types for which we have VA conversations brought live, right? So if password reset is now something we support with Virtual Agent, I would like to see that number go up and the number of password reset incidents or requests go down at the same time. So there's probably a few ways of measuring the success of those topics. Let me browse quickly to the topics page here. Worst performed, the least used, incomplete topics. So these are incomplete. That's probably me there, breaking off that check IT status earlier. Most used, complete, etc. So giving you a feel of, are we on the right track? Is what we thought the end user was looking for the same as what they're actually looking for? Are they missing anything, right? Giving you that insight. In addition to that, we always recommend, especially in a piloting phase, to go out to your pilot users and ask for their feedback, hopefully in a structured way, but also ask them, what did you think of the experience? How was that experience to you? We have some really good examples of some reference customers that went all the way with that, and results are always really good. I mean, once you listen to your pilot users, that's very valuable information, obviously, before rolling this out. With that, I am going to hand it back to Janet. Janet, over to you.
Thank you very much. And I will just reshare. So let's leave you with a couple of takeaways for you to start your pilot for Virtual Agent. Number one is really to start with the out-of-the-box conversations. As we said, there's a lot of conversations available to you. You've now seen how you can identify which of those conversations are best matches for your past incident history and so on. Number two, embed your virtual agent where people are using it. So if you're using Teams, install the Teams integration and make sure that you've got virtual agent available via Teams. Don't make users look for it. Otherwise, put it in the employee center so it's right up front. Number three, align virtual agent metrics with your organizational goals. Make sure that you've got the metrics that matter, that are going to prove the business value that you're going to get out of virtual agent. Okay. When you're talking about which topics to pick, just to give you an idea, as we said, there's over 65 out-of-the-box conversations, and there's a number of new ones. So every month we add new topics based on what customers are coming forward with, what's happening. For instance, if you're using Citrix desktops, there's a quick refresh so that people go out, ask for that. You click the button to say, yes, this is the virtual agent that I want to change. What happens? It will go out, auto refresh, and people can go on their way reusing that virtual desktop as if it was just deployed fresh, right? Enrich the employee experience by really making sure that additional actions are there to manage meeting topics. Make it easy to schedule meetings for people. Have it go out and find available conference rooms, whatever the case may be. There's another one for making sure that notifications when software installation is available. So add an actionable notification so that when SCCM pushes out an application, your user now knows that that application is present on their system and available to be used. So basically, you're going out and you're saying, here you go, we've delivered what you requested, go ahead and go forth. You can also complete the entire workflow for cloud provisioning with Microsoft Windows. So if you need a Microsoft Cloud PC, it can be deployed by Virtual Agent. It's going to use the policies that you've set in place as to who can get a cloud PC, when they can, whether there's an approval, and then no one else has to interact with it, right? So it's very, very valuable. And last but not least, there's another new one, which is easing the process of requesting admin access. So we use the ITOM's agent client collector to say, okay, who gets administrative access for what purpose? What are the time frames? What are the policies? And a user can request it for a specific period of time. So this is just a sample of a lot of the conversations, but we're constantly adding on to these. So if you go to our docs site, you will always see current conversation lists available. So what do you do next? Take time to review leading practice resources that are available on the Success Center. We've got a couple of them here. There's a virtual agent readiness checklist that is not just for a pilot, but for readiness of a virtual agent deployment in general. Talks to you about all of the things to watch for, the things to plan out. Some of it is much more detailed than a pilot, but those materials will really give you a lot of insight from experts on what's happened, what's worked, and so on. And then do your analysis. Make sure you have 3 to 5 really good out-of-the-box conversations that are going to align to your bottlenecks so that you have an immediate quick win. Get those out there and start to work with your users so that you truly understand what their language is and their concept and how they work with things, and you get that proper persona in place for your virtual agent, right? And then put your success measures in place to guide the decisions about where to expand and how you align with your leading practices, including governance going forward. Your virtual agent can play a huge role in digital transformation in making it much easier and faster to deploy and resolve a number of issues. So don't hesitate, get it out there, give it a try. Even if you only take 10 conversations in the first little while, you're probably going to offload 20% of the work that's normally going to agents. So again, we're going to follow up today's session on April 26th with a meetup to bring all your questions, your thoughts, challenges that you've experienced, etc., to talk to the agents and engage with your peers. We hope we're going to see you there. I know the link has been dropped in the chat for you. And next, if there are any other questions, we've had a few questions along the way, but if there's any questions, please go ahead and drop those in the Q&A. Nothing? I see there's been a couple that have been answered along the way. And there's been a fair amount of chat. So if there's nothing further, I will say thank you, and we will leave the Q&A open for a moment, but I think we'll sign off, and we hope to see you all on the 26th. Thank you very much for joining us today.